Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoesReborn.com with me as your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. What is it, Pat?
It's the Full Force Weekly.
Yes, it is. Welcome back to the Full Force Weekly. How are you doing, Pat?
Doing just fine. Actually having maybe a better week right now. It's starting off better. Like for me, this is the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's just kind of how my life works.
Is that why it sets you up badly for the rest of the week?
No.
It's like every week's bad because you start off talking to me. That's what happens.
No, it's always good. Always good. I
Cool.
love being on. It's Friday and Saturday begins my week, and that's what we have going. It's
Absolutely.
better so far.
Loads to get through as well this week. Loads, because it's been a busy old week in the world of G.I. Joe. Hello to everyone in the chat as well. Lots of you already jumping in. Jedi Ben, Figure Six Pack, Newfie. Who else we got in here? Jamie Lynn, Michael Jean Fleming, Chris G, Michelle Hall, Let It Roll 9044, Bri Bigby, Lightfoot. Hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, and hope you're having a good weekend. And I hope it is a good weekend in general, even after this, following this bumper episode, because we've got 2 slideshows worth of stuff to get through, Pat. So we might have to move this along pretty fast today, because we've done, I think, 2-hour episodes in a row now. My apologies on that one. In any case, we've got stuff to get stuck into, so let's get stuck into it. Starting with Unofficial Corner. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it? But we are dealing with Gridiron Studios and fans hobby posts this week. Lots of them, including a Warhound add-on kit for the Arctic Hound and Jungle Hound from Gridiron Studios, and a really cool mech thing they've released as well. And we've got a fans hobby update, basically wheel sizes for VE03, the Chenoweth or Striker wannabe. We'll start with Gridiron Studios, Pat, and they're sort of like little add-on kit, which allows your Arctic Hound to now sort of resemble a little bit like a snowcat with that back part.
Yeah, I like how modular everything that they have is. And I don't really buy vehicles very much, and so I'm probably not buying this, but I wonder like how many kits we're looking at now.
1 million?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's quite a lot for this one. I mean, if you got, I think the Arctic Hound, does it have the front wheels? I want to say it has front wheels. I'm sure we've seen an Arctic Hound with front wheels, and then they also have this like additional like skis sort of section. Yeah, you've got the back section as well, which is now an add-on with this like kind of half-track element. A little jump pack kind of pad, which is pretty dope, and you can kind of use for all sorts of different things. Like we've seen images of all sorts of uses for it, and a cool little drone. So yeah, lots of stuff with this one, and it can kind of looks like it can kind of be like its own standalone little, moving platform, just to kind of transport the little drone and what have you. And then on top of that, you can attach it to your Arctic Hound, and it's freaking crazy. Figure Six Pack said instead of a Cobra Wolf, it's a Cobra Cub. I like that one. It does have that. It does have wolf vibes as well, doesn't it? When it's like that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Getting a little bit of each. I think, like I've said before, I think that this fits in with G.I. Joe, but doesn't directly resemble one specific vehicle.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think that it's pretty cool. I like the fact that they're doing this.
It's pretty neat. And also they've done it in green as well. So you can kit out your Jungle Hound as well. I suppose it makes sense because it's only a deco change. But it does obviously bring quite a lot to this particular vehicle as well. Like a little half-track sort of vibe. I'm kind of digging it, actually. I think it looks pretty neat. Very sort of like futuristic, a bit military vibe. It's just really cool. And then that mech as well. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. But yeah, all sorts of cool stuff with this one. What do you prefer, Pat? Do you prefer the Arctic or do you prefer the jungle version?
I honestly think maybe the Arctic.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
I think it's because this is more new to me. It's the latest thing I've seen. I don't know. I'm kind of digging it in green, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense in the white with the half track and all that kind of jazz. Yeah, totally makes
Yeah.
sense. I don't know. I love that little drone thing as well. It's like Wally comes out the back and does some like war stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, they're basically available on their website as we speak right now. Link in the description. And in addition to that, they've added extra bits for that incredible Walker mech thing that they created for your trouble bubble. So yeah, your like actual classified trouble bubble can kind of work and cooperate with this mech, and you can just put all these crazy cool things on it. And they've added what, like, perfect timing, really, isn't it? But a snake armor sort of vibe on this one, which looks pretty cool, I've got to admit.
Yeah, it looks a lot different than the Hasbro one.
Yeah, it's almost like a little baby version.
Right.
Because this thing's got to be pretty hefty in size, but I think the Hasbro version is probably much bigger. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'd love to see a little comparison of these side by side with the in real life. I'd like to see that when the snake comes out.
I don't know with this. Like, I'm trying to. I think this one's going to be shorter, but
Hmm.
maybe wider. I mean, they both fit a figure seated.
That's true. That's very true. Because I mean, I'm just looking at the trouble bubble right now, and yeah, it's going to be like, it looks like like with those arms on the side of it, that really does push it out
Yeah.
width wise. Gridiron is over 8 inches, so yeah, it's obviously shorter than the
Okay.
GI Joe one. But yeah, width wise, it could be pretty on par there, couldn't they? Mark says killer tracked drone called Warly. I like it. I like it. WAR Lee. I get it. I'm waiting for a desert version, says RKW. It's kind of, I feel like the different versions of this vehicle are almost inevitable, aren't they? Yeah, maybe a Chrome Sky Patrol one at some point, Pat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you'd order your parts for all of these either. Like, do you just go on there and kind of choose and make
Yeah,
sure that you have like several kits?
yeah. There's like a bunch of different options on their website. You can kind of
Okay.
get little kits basically, and they allow you to kind of kit out, your either like in like vehicles you already have, or in the case of the Jungle Hound, you can get one of those as well on the site. Ryan Costello says the Hasbro Snake feels like the AT-AT to this one as the AT-ST. It does have that vibe, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's fun. Yeah.
yeah. In fact, they need to make some sort of four-legged walker snake. That would be really cool. I can just imagine people doing like almost like, how the front of the snake, like we're looking sort of like the vibe and design of this. I could see that as the head of an AT, basically. That would be kind of fun, actually, to do it, because over the years we've seen countless AT customs. There's that incredible Red Shadows one,
Yeah.
that with like the Robo Skull bits and pieces and all that kind of jazz. Like I could definitely see a custom AT, but with a snake armor front.
Yeah. Yeah. I can picture that.
Let's have it happen. Um,
Especially the way that it has that red eye thing could just,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Ryan says I'm late. Where's Chris's hat? I've gone sans hat today because I did my hair yesterday and I haven't showered yet. Full disclosure, just got straight out of bed and this is what you get. That's not actually technically true. I've done lots of things this morning. I just haven't showered yet. It's a good job it's not smell-o-vision, is all I'll say on the show right now. All right, as well as Gridiron, we also have fans hobby updates. Now it says from like basically feedback they received from fans and stuff on socials and what have you. They weren't too happy, or they preferred that the wheels were a bit bigger. Now it was based on a Chenauth, which obviously has smaller wheels, so it kind of made sense in that sort of design. But do you think this is the right way to go here, Pat? Do you think
So they're just changing the wheels, the standard wheels that it comes with, or it's a wheel kit?
well,
What is going on?
as far it says, it's hard to make out, but on the post it says that they've just made them bigger. So I think you're probably not going to get the smaller wheels, but you might do.
Honestly, I kind of like the way the bigger wheels look,
Yeah.
personally.
In fact, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the options and then have the bigger wheels in the back and the smaller on the front, because I think that kind of looks kind of cool. That
That's
little,
actually kind of why I was asking, is that
yeah.
I was thinking, yeah.
I wonder if if they've just incorporate like added these as extras, because that would be kind of cool actually. I think having the option and the choice is better than just one or the other. But yeah,
Yeah.
and we get a few kind of like shot. They've kind of done some shots to show you how certain things are removable and how they're removable, like the headlights, and then of course the hood or the boot. What the hell? I've forgotten what we call it. What do we call it in the UK? I think it is the boot, isn't it? No, what is it?
Is it the bonnet?
The bonnet. God, I can't. I've been in this country so long, I've forgotten the English words for things. Isn't that sad? Oh my god, the boot's the back end. Anyway, yeah. So, although technically, yeah, it's bonnet is correct, but because of the way the All Striker is with the engine in the back, it's technically is the boot. Technically,
Okay.
because yeah, it's just storage. But there is obviously you can see like little bits of what's under the hood, shall we say? And there you go, nice little bit of detailing. Yeah, I think is that everything for Fans Hobby? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
So Fans
Yes.
Hobby have the updates to the wheels. I don't know yet 100% if they're doing both, but I think it would be a good idea to do both. We'll just have to find out, won't we, in the future? And of course, Gridiron, link in the description if you want to check out all of those cool, crazy add-ons, and of course the Jungle and Arctic Hounds as well. Right then, next up, Pat, we're getting right into your wheelhouse again with a bit of Superb 7. Yes, just the other day, Toy News International posted a couple of promo images for the latest wave of reaction figures, which does it does kind of hint to the fact that we'll be getting pre-orders very soon for these, or just orders in general, or they'll show up in stores. One of those 15 things is going to happen very soon, I imagine. So, of course, the images we've got so far are the group shot of Cobra Commander, Zartan, Snake Eyes, and Wild Bill. First off, Pat, I want to ask you this before we move on with the other images, but as a wave of figures, are you happy with this? And are you happy with sort of the direction they're going in terms of character selection?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked before about how we were going to get a bunch of Snake Eyeses. This one seems like it makes sense to
Yeah.
be. I don't know. I like this one a little bit better than the last one. I
Yeah.
do like the fact that of 4 figures, we're getting one that's just completely been in demand actually among kind of hardcore collectors. That's Zartan. That's one that we've wanted forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's nice that we're into, what is this, wave 2? Or is this
3.
wave 3 already? Wow.
3.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Yeah,
we
yes, it
had
is.
we had
Okay.
was it Covered Girl, Cobra Commander,
Yeah,
Bats, Duke?
right. Raymar and the Fluffy felt like they were a bonus. And so
Right. Yeah.
Duke and Serpentor didn't feel like a whole wave to me, even though it's the 4 of them are wave 2.
They feel like an outlier, even though they are part of the wave. You're right, totally, because
Yeah.
they're completely different figures, aren't they? Really?
And I got them at a completely different time, and they were exclusives, whereas the other 2 were not. It was wave 2 is rolled out a little bit in pieces, so that's what messed me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's the second wave of standard figures, full wave of standard figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like the Zartan quite a bit. That's just the fact that they are doing that this early. I really enjoy that.
The Cobra Commander jacket situation, how's that hitting you looking at that image?
That picture makes him look better than
Yeah.
what he looked like in the package, but I know just from looking at it in the pack, that's my least favorite from this wave. I don't know if it's going to be from the set, but I'm going to buy it anyway because
It's a
that's
shame,
how I
isn't it?
am.
Because it's a shame because I feel like that one could have been an absolute top level figure,
Yeah,
didn't it? Do you know what I mean? With the
yeah.
jacket bottoms and everything. But yeah, Nighttime Podcast YouTube channel has asked, what's the story with the 6 fingers on Wild Bill's card art? Is it AI or just some weird mistake? Just honestly, I don't. I want to believe it is not AI. I want to, but who knows? I thought it was an error in that they wanted to change it, and they changed it without sort of like the artist's involvement, to remove the finger from a trigger kind of situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I want to believe.
I kind of think that it's a combination of them changing it so his finger's not on the trigger, coupled with the fact that if you look at where the space is in the hole of the trigger guard, it's right in front of the explosion that is practically the same color as
Mm,
his fingers.
yeah,
And so visually, it creates this look that there's another finger there that isn't there.
that's kind of what I want to believe. That's so hard. That because we've been pretty adamant that like we don't want AI anywhere near artwork for GI Joe in any way, shape, or form. Like
Yeah,
it's just
with
it makes
Super 7, I don't think it is. I
it
don't
makes
think
no
so.
sense as well. So like I know from a maybe from a corporation company sort of sense it makes sense because it's cheaper, but it's also like part of the reason there is such a huge fan base for GI Joe is the entire package, pun intended. It's not just the figure, it's everything else that comes along with it. And it feels like I don't know, like sort of, especially kind of like the early retro card back stuff from Hasbro, and just things like that. It feels like they haven't really quite nailed the artwork for that. And when it comes to Super 7, Jason Edmiston has done most of the card backs, and they're usually phenomenal because Jason's like really good. But like in this case, yeah, like the Wild Bill one was a little bit of a like, not quite sure
Well,
about.
that's what I could see, maybe him handing it in without the explosion behind it. And then whenever it got lined up there, it being a little unfortunate that the trigger guard or that hole, in the trigger guard ended up being placed on top of a color that was the same as the fingers.
Yeah.
At least that's really how it looks to me.
Uh, can we see the corrected card art? I don't know if it has been corrected, has it? I don't know. Well, that's the thing. I
I,
suppose we'll see when the figures come out. We'll be able to have a look at that close up and see if anything's been changed.
I'm
Or
thinking it's probably too late for that, personally.
that's true. I mean, they had them on
You should be
show at
in
like Toy Fair,
Target
didn't
right
they?
now.
Well, that's the thing. They had them on show on Toy Fair, and like I took pictures of them then, and that was where that was also noted and spotted. Yeah. Michael Jean Fleming says, I
Yeah.
think Super 7 has some kind of brainwashing technology. There is no reason for me to want that Snake Eyes, but as soon as I saw it, I went, that's a nice Snake Eyes figure. John says, love that Cobra Commander. Waited a long time for that. Says, yeah, John Cremians. Hello, John. Yeah, I think a lot of people have waited for that Arctic kind of stuff. I mean, we've been waiting for the Arctic stuff for a while. We've got Snake Eyes. Well, have we had any others? I can't even think if we've had any others. Obviously, we've had Reaction Bazooka, but have we had any like O-ring stuff? And I'm thinking of that kind of like comic pack period. Other than like Quinn, Snake Eyes, and whoever else was in that set, I can't remember who it was now.
Right. There's a bit of a difference between the GI Joe issue #2 Arctic look of the Joes and the
True,
GI Joe the movie
true.
look of the Arctic stuff. And
Yeah.
that Cobra Commander definitely looks more movie.
Oh God, yes,
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
I can't remember another time Cobra Commander was wearing an Arctic jacket though, other than the the comic pack that didn't come out, but then the club gave us one. But that was all based on the movie anyway. Kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
It's a little bit retaliation, not retaliation. Resolute.
Yeah, absolutely. Nighttime Podcast YouTube channel says, remove the trigger finger makes sense. An amalgamation of 2 sketches, perhaps. I think it would be tough to use AI in that way. Yeah, but like again, it just leaves such a horrible taste in my mouth, especially when I'm looking to my left here. And I said this before, to my left, I'm looking at the Art of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero omnibus hardcover book by Carson Metaxas and Chad Hukel. And I look at that and I think if we're going to do AI art from now on, what a spit in the face it is to all of the people that have worked on GI Joe artwork. And I'm including in that the people that did the artwork for Fun School figures, which I would take terrible card art that was done with that love and that charm and all that extra over AI doing it in any day. Like, I'd take a rubbish bit of card art, Pat, over an AI bit of card art. What would you say?
It would be funny if they did a Fun School figure and just made the art like really terrible. Just like go ahead and have me. That's my one chance to do GI Joe card art. Is if they need it to be terrible.
Oh, I can just see it now. Anyway, Michael says could be just an AI based modification of the trigger guard as a quick edit. Could be.
I love the fact that what I'm getting out of this is how overwhelmingly against AI everybody is in the card art. I really enjoy that. I just don't think that this particular case is, personally.
Yeah, like everyone's against it as well, but apart from like people that have to pay for the card art to be produced, that's it's like
Right.
the only people that are like into it. It's such a shame, honestly. Ryan Costello says Fun School Windmill better than Retro Flint. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot more fun. I enjoy it. I like the bit of GI Joe history and nostalgia that belongs to. And Retro Flint, I don't think I'll ever like that.
No, that's a rough one. So here are the card backs in question. I again, like Snake Eyes, we know is Jason Edmiston. I'm pretty sure Cobra Commander is. Pretty sure all of them are, actually. We'll have to. Might have to reach out to Jason on that and see if he see if he can talk about it or talk to it. Probably not though in that sense. Was WBR a mistake or a tactic to get more talk about? Kind of like how Kanye West gets all of off of the wall before he releases something. Yeah, and I get what you're saying, Cropstar Entertainment. Like, was it? But I don't think it's that like. I don't think it's that calculated. If anything is ever done like that, I don't think it's like this is what we're going for and we're going to execute it perfectly. I think sometimes it's just. Yeah, I just think it's just sometimes it's a cost thing in that sense. I think it's just not as complicated as we kind of think it might be. Yeah. Anyway, we also have, of course, the close-ups of Snake Eyes card. We don't have every image; we just have the few that popped up on Toy News International yesterday. And again, no changes on we've seen the card backs already. There's no other figures on there to kind of get like a cheeky hint at what Wave 4 might be or anything like that. But we do obviously have that, what we're assuming is a Target exclusive Python bat floating around as well, which I imagine will start showing up when these start showing up in stores as well.
I've still seen none of the O-ring stuff at the Target near me. It's disappointing.
Yeah, shame in it. And then we get a nice shot close up of Snake Eyes as well. So this is one of his promo images, obviously, that we'll probably be seeing very soon. The tiny sword makes me laugh, but then again, I think it is a call out to like Sunbow in some way, shape, or form.
I hope so. I kind of am curious because it's really short.
I forget what it's called. I do this all the time. I search it, I find it, I forget the name immediately. But there was a line of there were like military accessories which transformed into bases for little tiny military figures about like tiny
Army gear.
It could have been that. It could genuinely have been army gear. And the one I had was literally like a machete that looked like that. And it had a sheath, and the sheath, when you plugged it in, would open out like that, and then the handle would open out, and you'd have this kind of like really cool base. But yeah, that's what this reminds me of, like that kind of small, stumpy sort of like machete, which is hilarious. Anyway, that's pretty much everything we have at the moment in terms of Super 7 promo images. But expect more to come, and I imagine they'll be hitting stores fairly soon. That's usually what happens, isn't it? They hit stores and go up online around about the same time. You're not getting like pre-orders for these; they're just there usually. So yeah, fingers crossed we start seeing these pretty soon. And then I guess the next round of leaked listings will probably pop out from BBTS. That's usually what happens. We get like a whole like wave plan.
Yeah, Target or BBTS. I'm going to be looking at their and Super 7's website, hoping that I can get these. I just don't want to stress. I know I'm going to hit some wave that I just don't get.
Yeah. How have you? What are you waiting on at the moment?
I'm caught up right
Oh,
now.
brilliant.
Yeah, I just am hoping to find that, this wave of 4 and then the Python Bat.
Nice. Well, that is all we have for Super 7 at this moment in time. I will be speaking to Brian Flynn very soon. I think probably not, maybe next week. So yeah, maybe the discussion will go on to the card art. That'll be awkward, but we'll definitely talk to him about it and see what he can actually say
I
about
think that
it.
if he can say anything, he's going. My bet is he's going to clear the air that it was just the placement in front of the explosion.
We'll
Really,
see
what I think it is.
We'll see what he says. Anyway, yeah, that'll be next week, hopefully. And yeah, other than that, it's moving on now to probably the most ridiculous news. Well, the most ridiculous,
The biggest
the
news.
biggest news.
Yes.
You're right, Pat. Yeah, biggest news of the week, and that is, of course, the GI Joe classified fan stream. Yes, Hasbro ran their GI Joe brand team classified fan stream on Tuesday, and it was a doozy. Lots of reveals. We had name onlys, of course. We had digital renders. The digital render list was looking a little bit, like lonely. In fact, Snake Eyes version 4 and the name only reveals was looking very lonely as well. Name lonely reveals was what they were for a while. But we also got tons of pre-orders, loads of promo images. We're going to be talking to Lenny and Tony as well next week, and BMAC and Matt Cohen from Shooting the Galaxy. It's going to be this always happens, but there's always like some sort of event like this, and then there's about 15 interviews that follow it. So very excited to get stuck into all of this stuff. Pat, did you get a chance to check out the fan stream? Did you follow it along?
I had a busy week. Like I said, it started off better, but I missed it up until last night, and then I didn't get to finish it. So I still have like maybe 7 or 8 minutes left of the fan stream to
all the
watch.
good stuff that I'm going to be revealing to you now.
That's fine.
So yeah,
spoilers, Chris. Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, spoilers for Pat and Pat only. So we had obviously the brand team, Emily, Lenny, and Tony showed up, all dressed up, which I thought was amazing. They went with the Cold Slither vibes on this one. And something I haven't even really spoken about at all, I didn't speak about it on the news burst either, was the fact that, yeah, we've got the Cold Slither friggin' like album coming out as well. I mean, I've talked about it a little bit, but there's been a little bit more information that's kind of popped up here, there, and everywhere. From is it Phoenix Rain Music or Raining Phoenix? I can't remember which one it is now, the wrong way around. Either way, I think it's RPM, so it would be Raining Phoenix Music, I think. In any case, we've got music coming. They dressed up as Dreadnoks, which I thought was really fun. And we also got a few more name only reveals. But there was so much like nod, nod, wink, wink around the name onlys that effectively they gave away quite a lot here. So Battle Armor Cobra Commander, obviously, Monkey Wrench and Major Blood all make sense. And so does Mercer, actually, because of the leaks we've had very recently, like all of the parts, like the secondary for Mercer, Blood's head and his legs, Monkey Wrench's leg, and Cobra Commander's leg and helmet, all showing up. So it sort of makes sense that they kind of did these as name onlys, doesn't it?
It makes a lot of sense, yeah. But the fact that the things were showing up, it is crazy that we haven't gotten them further along, since they have them further along.
Right. Yeah, I think there'll be more leaks to come, is what I'll say on that one. You can almost expect it now. It's like it's quite a regular thing throughout the week. Yeah. In any case, all pretty good additions to the line. Let's go through them one by one here. Battle Armor Cobra Commander, kind of not long. Well, it's been a decent time in coming, but it sort of makes sense, doesn't it, as a Cobra Commander?
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see what they do with this one, just because of that approach to classified, where um, are, there's going to be a lot of new tooling with this.
Yeah,
So I would, in a lot of ways, imagine them wanting to find two uses for it,
yeah,
but sometimes they don't seem to care about that, which is crazy.
yeah.
But I don't know
Serpentor.
how they may be able to handle that if they did. Like, we're not going to get. It's not like there's going to be a chromed one,
Right.
because they definitely can't really do that. Um, yeah, I'm really curious to see how this one ends up, because to me it would make sense to try to find two uses for it, but I just don't know how they would do that.
Maybe like a redeco, like in like red or blue, where we've had that sort of in the past. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like it's
I
hard
guess
to see.
yeah, they could do like the 90s. You
We
know,
lost you there for a second, Pat. Are you still there?
yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you kind of glitched out a little bit.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that I guess they could do the 1997 one, but I don't know if anyone would want that.
Yeah, that's the blue one, isn't it?
The dark blue one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All
I
blue.
wonder if um I love that image of Mercer. Sorry, someone just commented on that image of Mercer, and it does, yeah, it's funny that we're looking at like basically as Grundle. The Cobra Commander one, it's interesting that, but I could imagine them doing like a Python patrol, or I could see them doing like red, like a
Oh,
crimson one to kind of go in with the crimson sort of like strike team sort of sub team. Seeing as they're getting everyone in crimson pretty much. I could see that being a possibility anyway. But yeah, you're right. It's not like an obvious like reuse for a different character or something like that. I do hope we get some sort of like Fred head in there though, or like an alternate head that homages some element of that.
yeah, and I'm curious if this is going to be one that's going to come with a lot of add-on stuff that will be specific to like the classified version of, the Armor Cobra Commander,
Yeah.
similar to what we've gotten with well, I would say Tripwire, but I probably should say Saw Viper.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, yeah, I finally got one of them. There he is. But yeah, good point, because that is a thing, because obviously the Cobra Commander is a standard retail figure. So yeah, this it would, yeah, the fact they've managed to pack that sort of stuff in with the Saw Viper, you're right, they could easily do something like that with Cobra Commander. Monkey Wrench, we got a kind of, well, we got a name leak early on, but then we got him show up on the back of the Cold Slither box set, which they showed off as well. So we kind of knew he's going to be coming. We knew sort of what he's going to look like as well. And then we saw the leg leak. So this is just, again, I think it's one of those things where they're just, I'm not even getting ahead of it, just catching up to the fact that everyone already knows Monkey Wrench is coming, which is quite funny. They all feels a little bit like that with these particular name only reveals. But Monkey Wrench, is he one that you were? Is he one you're excited about? Is he one that you wanted to see in the line?
The big thing that I'm waiting on for Monkey Wrench is to see how they handle his accessory,
Right.
because of the original Dreadnoks, he's the fourth one, but he's also kind of my fourth favorite of those four,
Yeah.
because he doesn't come with a backpack, and his accessory always was a bit confusing to me,
Right. Right.
compared to the others. I
Yeah.
believe it's a gun jackhammer,
Right.
but I don't really know how that is supposed to. I don't necessarily know how that's supposed to work. And considering what they did with Zorana's
Mm.
Dreadnought accessory, I would like to see how they're going to handle this one.
The interesting thing is, obviously, I've talked about this in the past, but Monkey Wrench was the third stooge in the UK, Action Force Weekly comics,
Okay.
because we didn't have Torch. So when they rebranded rebranded Action Force International Heroes in '87, and I think going into '88 was Monkey Wrench, but like we didn't have Buzzer, Ripper, Torch. We had Buzzer, Ripper, Monkey Wrench, and so for me, it was, and also the VHS tapes with a lot of Monkey Wrench in them, like a Rise to Pencil Rise, where he kind of shows up for the first time, his introduction to the to the Sunbow series. It's interesting because, yeah, you look at the other three and they're all very specific. Monkey Wrench is all about explosions. He's an explosives kind of, guy, blows things up. But that accessory doesn't really track. Buzzer's a chainsaw guy. He's got a chainsaw, right? That's his main accessory. Then you've got like Ripper, who rips stuff up with his jaws of life, or jaws of death, what you want to call them. Then you've got Torch, who is a flamethrower and burns stuff up. Monkey Wrench doesn't he's not following the same format. Monkey Wrench maybe throws a spanner in the works, a wrench in the works, right? But
Yeah.
he's not like, his name isn't like blow, it's not related to explosions necessarily. The weapon he comes with has got nothing to do with explosions. So I do find it quite fun. Oh, Max says he's sabotage, and that does make a bit more sense actually when you say that. But the weapon, like, he doesn't follow the same. It doesn't feel like it's a bit clunkier, is what I'll say, in terms of like a Dreadnought and the related kind of personality attachments and stuff. But I think that weapon is nuts, and it's, yeah. What does it just fire that once, that trident, or does it like pulsate?
I think it pulsates. I think that it's
Okay.
supposed to be a jackhammer.
That's so crazy. Yeah, because you've mentioned in the past that on his concept art, or on his like some of the input drawings and stuff, didn't it say something like jackhammer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it says jackhammer. But there was one of the things in the concept art at one point, instead of grenades, like hand grenades, he had grenade launcher grenades. And there was a note on one of the versions of one of the iterations of concepts where somebody called that out and said, hey, he has grenade launcher grenades, but nothing to launch them with.
Right.
Like, give him an accessory. And it seemed like it took a little while for them to figure out what that was actually going to look like. Like, they had the look of the character, but they didn't have what his accessory was. I like the fact that it looks like it's some sort of handmade thing. It's fashioned from a gun plus other parts, but yeah, it's weird. And I think that the classified version, I'm expecting it to be somewhat different, but to incorporate stuff. Maybe it could have different attachments, like not bad attachments, but
that would be
different
cool.
types of.
Yeah,
that'd be neat.
that trident could definitely come off at the end of it anyway, couldn't it?
Yeah.
To create like just a gun of some description. But yeah, I think that's a good
or maybe
shout.
it could be underneath or something. I'm really curious to see how they handle that.
Yeah, I will say, I will add, I love Monkey Wrench. I think he's great. All I'm saying is I've never really given it much thought in the past. When I was a kid, when the figure came up, I was like, I wanted him so bad, and everything makes sense. Monkey Wrench is a cool name for a Dreadnought. He is a brilliant design as well. Like, he looks great. There's so much to. What I mean is, like, he doesn't follow that same formula that the first three followed. Like, it was very much on the nose, wasn't it? Buzzer, Ripper, Torch, they all made sense. They all made sense with their respective like specialties or weapons and what have you. Monkey Wrench just seems to be like all sorts of stuff thrown together, and then it's all like, you've got like another Dreadnought. And again, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that can be a thing. But anyway, yeah, Monkey Wrench is sabotage. I get that, Robert. Yeah, as in like you throw a wrench in the works sort of situation. Ryan says he should have the bat saw blade that Buzzer came with. The bat saw. Oh yes, the one that's on like the chain, right? Or is he talking about the classified version that came with some extra bits and bobs? You'll have to elaborate on that one, Ryan, because I can't remember what he comes with. He's the MacGyver of Dreadnought, says Robert. Yeah, indeed. Anyway, that is Monkey Wrench. Major Blood. What's interesting about Major Blood is the image they chose, because obviously we've seen the leak of the leg, the leak of the head, which is the same as the Cobra Island one. It's likely, because we're not looking at like an old card back image of Major Blood here. We're looking at the classified, but they specifically used this image of Major Blood, his artwork for the classified series. So it's very likely that we're getting some sort of very similar release for Blood, because he's going to be in the main line as well. He's not like a retro carded figure or anything like that. Do you think they're going to do some like new tooling on this at all, or do you think it's going to be like a redeco? Well, apart
I
from, sorry, I should say we know that the upper legs are outbacks as well. So there is an element of change here, but it's stuff that's already in the tooling.
right. I would expect that it's just going to be mixed up, pieces, and um, mostly what we would expect to see. I'd be really surprised if it's any different because Major Blood was already a really good figure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'd have liked them to do some extra tooling on this one, even if it was just like make the arm a little bit more retro, and
Yeah,
then
and again, that's what I was having a really like mental block. It's like to me, it almost only makes sense if he is a retro carded one. I mean, we got Firefly redone
in the main line, yeah,
in the main line,
yeah,
yeah, from like the Target ones, but the other one, the other Major Blood was he wasn't a Cobra Island one, was he?
he was, yeah, he was
He
Target
was.
Target
Okay.
exclusive, yeah,
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, Firefly was such a more of a departure from the way Firefly looked as a standard that it made more sense to have a new mainline one of him. I don't
yeah,
know. I am curious to see what they're doing here because
yeah.
maybe they are doing more than what I'm expecting.
I'm interested to see what happens there. I think for the most part, they're just trying to get Major Blood into the line for an easier go of it for a lot of people that might have missed out on that first one.
Yeah.
And the fact that we also don't have a Major Blood really currently easily available in the line, when he is like one of those kind of like, a lot of people like this figure, a lot of people want Major Blood. I think personally, I'd love a version 2 at some point as well. I'd love to see that Sonic Fighters version. I'd
Yeah.
love to
So that
see. I'd love to see the version 3. I'd love for them to do some, different versions of Blood for sure.
Fun
Um,
Skull, blue and yellow, but each one
100.
color. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then, of course, we've got Mercer, which Emily revealed in the stream. All the Renegades are coming. So we're getting Mercer and Sergeant Slaughter in a 2-pack, which we're already aware of, but they sort of semi kind of officially confirmed that. But another Sarge coming and Mercer. From what we can ascertain, Sarge is a desert camo, and Mercer is like very much his classic style and design. So it looks like that's what we're getting, and then I imagine another 2-pack down the line with Taurus and Red Dog, which is cool with me. I think that'll be a fun couple of 2-packs right there.
Yeah, unless there's no possibility they could split those up and have another two packs, is there?
Don't think so. What would you
I don't
want?
know. You could throw Falcon in, like with
Oh right, yeah.
yeah, and then figure out somebody else to throw in with one of the
Oh, I
other.
see. As in,
You know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, I see what you mean. Like, sort of like, yeah, where we had Hardball, for example, who's a Slaughter's Marauder sort of job. Maybe throw him in with Falcon as well to kind of grow
Right.
a sort of
Yeah.
Slaughter's sub team sort of
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
It's not Marauders, but it's Renegades still, because we had that Renegades pack that was also also Marauders. Well, maybe we'll probably get, I think what's going to happen is we'll get those 2-packs, and then further down the line, I think we'll see Mercer, Red Dog, and Taurus Maraudified.
That'd be cool.
That's what I
That'd be
think will
cool.
happen. I think that'll happen for sure, because that will build out the Marauders a little bit as well. Because what have we got so far? We've got the 3. We've got Sarge, sorry, 4. Sarge, Barbecue, Low Light, and Spirit in the classified series from the Marauders. We can definitely get Mutton Junkyard. That's got to happen at some point, I imagine. Footloose is now in reality, so I imagine we'll get him added to the team. Then you could throw in, like, the fact we had Hardball in the past, and then the 3 Renegades. So you'd end up with, and Falcon, which you'd end up with like 11. Then have I missed anyone out?
Slammer from the convention set,
Brilliant.
or was it Smasher?
It was Smasher, but Slammer
Smasher.
was also, wasn't there a Sargento
Yeah.
Slaughter? Wasn't there? But that's the same as Sergeant Marauder Sergeant Slaughter, basically. I think Smasher and Hardball would be cool to add to the team as well. So you can get up to about 12 Marauders figures by the end of it. That'd be neat. Anyway, that's the name only reveals. We got some renders, and we got Snake Eyes version 4. Are you sad they did version 4 before version 3?
I'm wearing the shirt today for this exact question being asked of me.
Are you mad that I'm getting my Snake Eyes before you get yours?
Well, it's more of a save the best for last.
I
And
knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
yeah,
Amazing.
and like Tony in the live stream was like, it's everybody's favorite. It's like, it's not everybody's favorite, Tony.
I'm going to tell Tony that. I'm going to say, Tony, I had a conversation with Pat after the stream, and he was very upset at the fact that you lumped everybody in with one saying this was their favorite Snake Eyes. He clearly hates this one. I'm just kidding. That's so funny.
No, I do like this one, but it's just, you know, I know which Snake Eyes is my favorite.
Absolutely, totally cool. I should also say, Hasbro, we've had this officially confirmed, by the way. Hasbro made an error during the stream where they put on the screen this and Colonel Hawk and the MMS and said they were both Amazon exclusives. This is not an Amazon exclusive. This will be a standard retail figure, and it stays in the listings where it was. So just to be very clear on that one, this Snake Eyes won't be an Amazon exclusive, but the MMS and Colonel Hawk will be, which we'll talk about in a second. One more thing I want to say about this, Pat, before we move on, is that I love the figure. I think the figure is phenomenal, actually. I really like the update. I love the colors. I love all of the details and the extras, what have you. I think it looks great. I think the head sculpt looks really good. I think they've really skimped on accessories, though. I really feel like we could have had even if they'd given him like the launcher, like the Ali Viper launcher that isn't a launcher but has a harpoon on it. Instead, we get the grappling hook, but I'm assuming you get rope with it, but they don't show it on the render, which is odd.
I don't necessarily know that we are getting rope with it. It is really odd that that's just what he comes with, and that it doesn't fit onto anywhere.
Yeah, and like I like the fact they've gone with the sword situation. Like they've got the the basic kind of like movie Storm Shadow kind of back piece for the swords and everything, because he didn't have a backpack, did he? Just the
No,
just the launcher.
well, the backpack launcher, but not
Exactly.
anything that held the swords. I think at one point there was a part of the concept art showed putting a sword in that backpack, but that wouldn't have been great.
Yeah. Eben says, will that hook at least have rope? We don't know. We don't know. It might be one of those things where it's like you can just get your own string and attach it to it, I guess.
Yeah, what goes in the holster?
The maybe the hook. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
that's
just
something.
asked. But
Someone says might be subject to change. So yeah, that was SFNG. Yeah, could be.
maybe it's open from the back and it really does just kind of hold in, like clip in there.
Could do. Which wouldn't
be. That's going to look weird.
Yeah, I was going to say it would look a bit odd. There might be stuff we're not seeing as well on the back of the figure. Like there could be something on the belt, on the back of the belt. But yeah, we'll have to. I will be digging into this when I speak to Lenny and Tony. I will ask them questions about this render. Have no fear. But other than that, I think the figure looks great. I'm just a little bit like, I will say I'm a little bit disappointed with the loadout. Swords wise as well, they chickened out, but they did do that kind of thin part of the blade in the same way they did the orange on the Desert Commando Snake Eyes. They've sort of done the same thing here, but they've hinted at the fact that he had bright deco on his weapons back in the day, because you've got some of the deco on the rifle as well, so it's cool. Anyway, that is Snake Eyes. Then we got this surprise. Now this took me completely by surprise, Pat. Like I know, like we've talked about this being probably on the on the plan at some point, because you wouldn't do something like the MMS and then not look to reuse that tooling in the future,
right?
And we had talked about this being an option with the Colonel Hawk, original 13 sort of vibe. I mean, I was quite pleasantly surprised. For me, this is a box ticking exercise more than anything. But what are your thoughts?
I agree, but at the same time, the number of people who don't currently have a vamp makes me wonder how this one's going to go. Like, I think that no matter how many of these they sell, they probably could have sold more of them if they had gotten a larger number of vamps out there beforehand.
Yeah, the vamp thing is not well. I wonder if that's got something to do with the fact that we've had a delay. You know, that NYCC. I'm going back to that thing last year again, where they said there's going to be delays, and I feel like we're sort of seeing it, but we haven't really been given like very clear,
right,
like ideas of what's going on there. Maybe it's got something to do with that. Maybe they can't. Maybe they're in a position where they can't rerun a bunch of vamps right now. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's that advantage we've talked about so many times of the standard version of vehicles not being the one that's going to Target. You know, Target was getting Python Patrol versions of things and Tiger Force versions of things, while Pulse was putting up the standard colors. And that just makes it so that they can kind of decide whether or not there's going to be more. But at this point, a lot of the Pulse exclusive vehicles are some of the most expensive ones on the secondary market, and I do think that we're due for kind of a rerun of several of those.
Yeah.
So
Ferret.
yeah,
Ferret. I would say Tiger Paw as well. I know it's not a Pulse exclusive, but I definitely think a Tiger Paw could do with a rerun, because a lot of people still talk about that not getting
that
that.
is true. Yeah.
But yeah, those in general, those two, and then yeah, the vamp for sure, man. Like totally. I just want to make very clear, this will be an Amazon exclusive as well. Just for those that are watching, this is an Amazon exclusive figure and vehicle. Eben says, I love the MMS, just not a fan of scrap iron blast effects. I don't even know how they're going to work, because what do they plug into? Do you know what I mean? Because like the scrap irons thing, they disappear through like the back of the thing and they plug in and you don't see them. This, you're going to see one end of that effect. So I don't know where it plugs into. Am I being an idiot? Do we have those blast effects on the MMS regular? Or am I being an absolute moron? I can't remember. Someone let us know in the comments.
Yeah, no, I don't know how those are going to work.
His gun is the same one that came with the twins and the Snake Eyes movie Baroness, right, says Paul. Are you talking about that one? Yes, I believe it is. I believe that, like an H&K with a silencer. Yes, Paul, Snake Eyes does come with that weapon. Windblade has asked, Chris, have they said that they'll have some of the MMS on Pulse as well? They don't say that, but they will say that. And yeah, they limited quantities always when they do partner exclusives. Limited quantity on Pulse on the day they go up for pre-order, which I don't know I don't know when that's going to be yet. Is there a better trailer hitch than the HMS? I don't think so, Paisano, because that thing is amazing. It'll sell for OG13 Hawk, says Ed. Yeah, definitely. I think that's another thing. People have been wanting that OG13 team completed. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I reckon the full OG13 will be completed by the end of 2026. That's my expectation.
I guess we just need to see when Grand Slam is slotted, because he'll be the last guy.
Hell yeah. Need a vamp reissue for sure, says Justin. They said Ore Striker can tow it as well, said Jeremy. Yeah, so the Ore Striker's going to have a tow hitch, isn't it? I would imagine it would. I'd imagine it would.
Yeah.
Squishy says $75 just for a hawk head to put on your own more classic OG13 body. That's a lot of money in it just for that, Squishy. Will the Ore have a tow hitch? Yes, Leon, it will. Stygian says Star Wars is getting another live next week, even though they just had one. Hope they do the same soon for Classified. I doubt that, Stygian. I think there might be, because we've got WonderCon at the end of this month, right? That's one thing we could have some sort of like pre-order or reveal for. So WonderCon is a possibility, and the fact we've got that claw flying about still with no home in the pre-order department, I would go out on a limb and say possibly a claw could end up in that spot for WonderCon. So that's a possibility. I don't think we'll get like a fan stream though until Yojo June. I could be wrong, but what is it? March, April, May? It's only 3 months away. Like that'll be gone in no time. Like time is moving rapidly. It's marching on. Def, a good point. The vamp was such a miss for most of us, says Joss. They said the Ore Striker will be able to haul it. Yes, totally. Yes, the Ore Striker has a hitch and will also be lugging this as well. But yeah, I would like. I think vamp still needs to be done though. They still need to do the vamp. It's okay, guys. The new HasLab Mauler will also pull the MMS. Could you imagine? Well, let's talk about some of the other things on here, because obviously that's the MMS. Very cool, brilliant, lovely stuff. Then we get the Green Shirt Trooper, which is a retro carded figure. We've seen this sort of leaked already, Pat, and we've discussed this in the past already with the leaked images that we saw of the figure. But now we can kind of see the deco. Are you happy with this one? Is this a good addition, do you think, to the line?
I do think this is a good addition. The fact that it's two figures in once, at once is also,
Yep,
will help it sell twice as fast.
bit of value.
I've never really felt like the GI Joe team needed to have unnamed people on the team.
We've got Steel Core for that, haven't we? And like, that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, but that has my name with it and my
Oh, that's
friend's
true.
names,
Yeah, every single one of
know?
them. Every single one
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. But this is feels more like it. Like I have always felt like they needed to have like military support.
Yeah.
So it does make sense to have figures that are troopers.
We need all those chaplain's assistants, don't we?
Right. Yeah.
Right. I do like this idea as well of like, when you have some of the bigger vehicles and the displays that you see, you can kind of fill the background out with a couple of green shirts, guys, and it just really brings something to that, like that visual, like a bustling military sort of like situation as well. Like, yeah, and again, like troop building, I think people are going to go nuts for these. And it's sort of like does bridge a little. They're starting to do a lot of like cartoon based stuff, which is interesting. I wonder if that's got anything to do with the fact, or if it's like a byproduct of Super 7 sort of not really doing ultimates as much as they were before. I wonder if it's got something to do with that, because we're seeing a lot more cartoon infusion going into the classified series, which yeah, I don't know, you may not like that, you may like that in the comments, but yeah, well,
I guess if you've paid $75 for a Hawk head, then you have the spare Hawk MMS body that you could put one of these two heads on.
Perfect. So yeah, there you go. You just get those two items and you're covered perfectly.
There is a nice mix of things going on here, though, for
Mm.
sure. Yeah, where you could swap some parts and make some extra characters from all those GI Joes in green that have been coming out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Eben says, just me, but I wish this green shirt came in a 2-pack. That would be pretty cool, actually. And someone mentioned a female green shirt would be really good. Yes, Slave. I think that would be really cool. Do I think we'll get a Sparks figure, asks GI Jetman. I think that isn't necessarily off the table. I think a Sparks figure could, one, be done with what is actually available, other than maybe like a head sculpt, because they like to do unique head sculpts for all of the unique characters.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think Sparks would be someone they could really easily do. Yeah, because I think that'd be rad. I'd love a Sparks. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's one of those characters that is a little undervisited. It would be nice to
say the least.
Yeah, to have a I don't know, that we got the club one, but have we gotten another Sparks other than that one?
I don't know. I don't think we have.
I don't think so either.
Anyway, Sparks Fest is quite like Hawk / Xandar. It is, Leon, actually. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could literally get away with just building a Sparks now. We also have the Battle Android Trooper, which again is Sunbow inspired deco. They've added a little bit of deco onto. You've got blast effects, and we've got a little bit of deco on the extra pieces. Again, we've seen this one leaked early, and of course we've seen this figure fully decoed as well. And we've kind of mentioned it. We've talked about it. Any thoughts on this one, Pat, at the moment?
The brown holster is weird to me. Otherwise, it looks really good.
Didn't even notice that. But yeah, that must be part of the Sunbow aesthetic. I don't think I've ever noticed that. I don't think I've ever noticed that in my entire existence watching the Sunbow cartoon.
Maybe he doesn't even have a holster in the Sunbow cartoon.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, well.
Oh, no, there it is.
Is it brown?
Yeah, it's brown.
Amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing. So that's why it's been done. Check. Sunbow sorted out there.
Yeah.
Clear chest plates as well, which is a nice little touch too. So yeah, like it's nice. It gets you more bats. I know people love bats, and I do have a lot of bats, but this isn't one that like is like I'm really excited about. But I'm kind of I'll take anything and everything in the line, because then you don't have that thing at the end of a run where you're like, oh, we never got. At least we'll be at the point where
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we never got that one character in the comic that a child drew and sent in as a, like I'm talking Motu classics basically here, but like the characters you end up not getting are so like ridiculously like weren't going to happen anyway.
right.
That yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
happy to
and
have it
this
all.
one is one we've all been kind of inching toward with how many times they had like a red face, and you're like, well, can that go on a bat?
Right. That's so true. Do you remember that you messaged me? You said, what does the red head look like on that new figure? And I was like, oh, I hadn't even tried that. And then I took pictures of it, and it didn't quite work because of
It's
the
a little,
yellow.
yeah,
Yeah, for the
yeah.
Python Patrol one. But yeah, this will finally work. Ed says, Chris, don't slander Cool Breeze like that. No, I definitely want Cool Breeze. I want Cool Breeze so bad. Like there are certain characters that are deep cuts that need to happen. They're almost more iconic because they died so soon or whatever. Like Mangler and Cool Breeze need to definitely somehow make it into the line. I could definitely see those in O-ring form. But anyway,
Yeah, I could as well. I think that those would be really good ones for Super 7 to include.
definitely. Then we get into the pre-order reveals and obviously the product reveals and everything. So Footloose was first up, and well, I say that he probably wasn't. I just put it in my own order. But yeah, Footloose again, another figure that I've been craving to come out in the line. And I think he looks really good. I think they've done a good job with this one. I love the helmet. I love the it's kind of like his classic helmet, but with like that update to it. I love the little chin strap with the sort of like where it splits around the chin. And I really love the extra texture and tufts of grass he's stuffed in his helmet, like it, like the original. Are you a fan of Footloose, Pat, in general?
I am. My lingering question on Footloose is: was he always supposed to be green? Like the action figure is green with brown, but he has a tan backpack, and the card art really does not look like he was meant to be a green figure to me.
Interesting.
He looks like he was supposed to be desert, and then I've always, for at least for a long, maybe not always, but for a long time, I've wondered if they switched him to green because they had Dusty.
Well, from what I could gather, he was based on a Vietnam soldier, like all of the design and deco and everything. And I think in Dan's book, there was like a thing of it being very much like ripped from that Vietnam era. If I'm I might be mistaken on that one. Typical Vietnam era jungle trooper. That's what I thought it was from looking at Dan's like.
But then how does the card art end up being tan, and his backpack matching it?
I wonder, do you reckon that was something like when they sent the materials to Hector? Because again, it would have been like what? They'd have posted it to him. Maybe the reference materials were like weirdly colored, and maybe they'd said, this is what we want, but it was like lost in translation a little bit. I don't think Hector was English as like ESOL or anything, but he wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it could have been something like that.
Yeah, I
Like a
don't
little
know.
miscommunication.
It's always kind of bugged me the way that he looks in his card art, and there are other places where he looks more desert.
Leon says, "Where does he get leaves in the desert?" maybe it's a little pinpricks. Maybe he's found a cactus. Yeah. Zoran says, "Who cares?" Fair enough. We'll move on. Then we have obviously the back of the package, which is an interesting one. I think he looks most like Pedro Pascal here. But in any case, we have an homage to the Sunbow episode. Insert the name of the Sunbow episode here that I've forgotten. Where you've got the Mauler in the background, which has been the talk of the town very recently in regards to what the next HasLab could be, and a white Cobra tank, which appeared in that Sunbow episode. Pretty fun. Do you think this is any sort of foreshadowing, Pat, or do you think it's just they're homaging the Sunbow episode?
Oh, most definitely just homaging the episode.
Fair.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, well,
Hearts
I
and
mean,
cannons.
maybe.
Hearts and cannons. Thank you, Ryan Daly. He's
Yeah,
in the desert
no,
there, mate. Funny, we were just talking about that, but look where he is after you just said all that.
exactly. Yeah, that's a little bit what I was leading to, is the fact that we're about to see him in the desert, and the
Yeah.
fact that he always in the card art looks like he's more colored for desert than jungle.
Anyway, oh, Paul says straight up Abrams, not Mauler. That's a good point, actually. I just assumed it was. I hadn't looked hard enough at the barrel. I just assumed they had holes in the barrel, and it was very much like the Mauler. But Paul, that could edge towards them updating the Mauler as a as a slightly more real world tank. I'd rather they just focused on it being the Mauler, because the Mauler is very unique and cool, and based on that concept tank as well. Leon says, are they trolling HasLabs at this point with the bridge layer there too? That's true as well. We'll be getting to that in a little while, Leon. Maybe they are. Anyway, we'll find out in what, July probably. So we just have to wait till then, guys. You just have to be really patient. Anyway, I do love this Footloose, and then again, some beautiful product images of Footloose. Yeah, just I don't know. I'm just really happy with how he turned out. Having seen this one up close as well, I'm a big fan of the actual figure itself, like the build design and everything looks great. What was funny was one of the images we had previously was on a white background, and they put the missile in the wrong side, the wrong end. So yeah, that's not going to go very far, is it? Firing that missile, but this is right. This is the correct way to utilize that. Yeah, cool. And then a little bit of Darklon, there in a hiss tank in one of the images, and a lot of what people are saying could be some questionable smoke floating around him. I think it's just from the hiss tank, personally.
I
But
think
what do
it's
you
from
think?
his tank. Well, yeah, that's true. He does seem pretty relaxed.
I think him and Darklon have just hotboxed that hiss tank. That's what I think's happened.
Well, I don't know what is going on with Darklon. Is he knocked out in his tank?
It's hard to say, to tell. I think it's just his arm hanging out. That's his arm. Like, you can see his elbow and the glove and the hand going down.
So the hiss has gone down, and Footloose is investigating.
Yeah,
That seems to be what we're looking at. Okay.
looks like it. We'll have to ask Matt about the narrative of these images, definitely. And then, of course, we get Darklon. Speaking of which, nice segue there into Darklon. How did you feel like he turned out, bud?
This is one of those situations where I try to hold back until I see things more in hand. The standard Darklon helmet, I really didn't like that from the renders.
Right. Okay.
But it looks a lot better, in my opinion, here
Yeah.
than it did in the render.
I
Like,
will
seeing it moving is just better than the specific face-on picture, because he was not looking right to me at all in the render.
I'm just trying to get some images
I
that
don't
show
like it
that.
there either.
Yeah, that classic kind of image. That I like this because it looks like he's on a dance floor, and they've just made space for him to do like a little jig at a like it's like he's at a rave or something, or a concert, and
Yeah.
they're about to do a mosh pit. That would be one hell of a mosh pit right there, with a bunch of Iron Grenadier battle android troopers. I don't think you're really coming out of that well, are you? So here's like the figure with the helmet kind of thing that you were
Yeah.
discussing there. How do you feel about these kind of shots?
Yeah, this helmet looks a lot better to me. I don't know what it is when I see it face on, that it just doesn't look right to me.
Could it be that it's lighting up, that the light is kind of really lighting up that mouthpiece?
It is, and he ends up looking like Watto to me. Is the issue I have? Is that looks like Watto's nose, and then Watto's teeth kind of sticking out the side. And I keep on seeing Watto whenever I'm trying to look at Darklon.
Now I can't unsee it. It's amazing.
But not there. See what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like Watto disappears because I'm getting a slightly different angle.
It's brilliant. That's so good. I've got to say, I think the sword is phenomenal. I think that is one hell of a good accessory.
The sword is a really good idea. I think that's my favorite addition to Darklon in what Classified has done.
Look at that thing, man. And the fact they've got the... I'm doing it again. I'm going to get it. If I can do it without breaking anything or making loads of noise. so no on that one. It's got the Destro's ruby in there in the
Oh,
hilt.
do they?
Yeah, that's what that is. That's it's not like
Okay.
actually Destro's. Apparently, it's the family. They've decided it's the family stone, the family jewel. He's got his family jewels in there, Pat. he's got his family jewels in his sword. That's amazing. I don't know. I think it's brilliant. I also I've got to say, like, I like that alternate head. I think it's really cool and decorative and different and interesting. But I don't see myself ever using it for Darklon.
No, I liked what Emily said, that maybe it's a
Like a trooper.
Darklonian trooper kind of edition, and I think that would have been a good idea, but it doesn't really give me trooper vibes so much, just putting that on the Darklon body.
Yeah.
And it does just make me want death metal from Lenny. Like, I think that he just needs to scratch that itch.
Yeah, can you just drop
Dreadnought death metal?
Lenny, could you drop what you're doing right this minute, and could you just focus on doing death metal for us, please?
He does. That's what I want to see happen.
And for those that aren't familiar with death metal, Pat, could you fill in?
It was just a from the Devils Do Comics era, one of the Dreadnoks, whenever they had like a group of Dreadnoks appear, there was one of them named Death Metal, and he was standing in the back, so you only saw like his head, and it was like a skull face with almost like dreads or hair sticking out. And we really didn't learn much about him, other than the fact that he's a Dreadnought character that existed in that comic.
There was,
and I think that's what Lenny needs to do. That's the one thing I want to see from him.
Definitely. Ryan Daly says Destro and the Family Stone, like Sly and the Family. I get it, Ryan. I get it. That's brilliant. OMG, we went from crystal balls to the family jewel. I absolutely same time toys. Yeah, brilliant. G.I. Jetman says Darklon looks awesome. I never had him because I wasn't collecting at the time. I have to say, I'm not that fussed about the Evader. I thought I'd be more fussed about the fact that they didn't do a vehicle with him. And then I just realized the Evader isn't really like, I mean, they might have been able to do something cool with it in the classified line, but at the same time, I don't think anyone's going to buy an Evader. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And yeah, that's one of those ones that's kind of on the list of, it is small enough for sure for it to fit in a package at retail. Like, it's not a big vehicle. And it was like their the small figure with vehicle that year.
Yeah.
But I don't think that people are clamoring for that vehicle either.
No. People seem to want a Swamp Skier, though. Leon said it again. A few people have asked for a Swamp Skier at some point. I'm genuinely surprised we haven't seen a Swamp Skier. We've seen 18 Zartans and not one Swamp Skier.
Yeah, that's what I think. I ask you last week if they could maybe do a retro boxed.
Yes.
Something. A retro boxed Zartan, I think, would be cool.
Oh, a retro carded one like they did that time with the Swamp Skier on it that was too small for him, maybe?
Oh, man. It looked like it was the Combat Heroes Swamp Skier.
He looks like when Homer is doing that clown school thing and he's got that tiny little bicycle that he's trying to do a loop-de-loop on that Krusty does. Anyway, he kind of looks like he's on a tiny bicycle. It's amazing. It's really funny when you put him on it because it really is like, it's like a child's like thing, like a little vehicle.
Like, just put a quarter in it and it's going to go back and forth.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly. Kinder Egg Swamp Skier, says Leon. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So anywho, that's Darklon. We then move on to Blowtorch, which I think he looks great. Blowtorch. I think there's loads of details on this one. Do you know what I really love the most? That flamethrower is so detailed and it's got so many cool little, like, it's got deco hits on it and everything that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, there's a lot more deco on him than they could have. Like, they could have gotten away with a lot less.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What, are you happy with how he's turned out?
I am. Yeah. I still don't quite understand what those suction cup looking things were on the original Blowtorch. So do what they want, make him updated. I think this is a fine solution.
I would be catching myself on all sorts of stuff walking around in the house in that getup. Like I feel like all those little things are little catches. Every time he walks around, they make like little clinking sounds, like little zippers. You know, when you got like the little zipper metal, kind of like
Yeah.
yeah. I can just imagine him walk. You could hear him coming a mile off. Sounds like Santa Claus is about to drop off some presents. That's what I'd imagine he sounds like walking around the house. Max says it's his Centurion's armor, Pat. That's what it is. So he can connect to his Centurion's gear, obviously. Anyway, yeah, nice one for Blowtorch. The only thing I would say is I wish they'd done a little bit more tampo on the tanks. I say more tampo, any tampo on the tanks of his backpack, because I feel like it needs like a little, like a little warning triangle or like a little,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it may be, like a fuel, whatever the fuel is, sort of written out on the. I think that would have been kind of cool. It's only a minor thing. It looks a little bit. It looks a little bit generic.
I like that they got the brighter yellow in there somewhere, though.
Yeah, it's a good look. It's pretty cool. I think it looks good. And then on the back of his card, we have the bridge layer in the background, which is pretty dope. Now, is this foreshadowing, Pat? Is this what we're going to get for the HasLab?
I don't think so. No, I think that it's surprising that we are getting vehicles in the background that we're not going to be getting as toys.
Yeah, and
I mean, we might get a HasLab one. I just don't think this is it.
Yeah, I genuinely would love a bridge layer as a HasLab. I think it would be freaking awesome, especially if it was sort of like, remote. Like if it actually did, like, the bridge would like it would lower the bridge motorized, and then it would unlock, and then it would drive over it, catch it, bring it back over again. I think that would be freaking amazing.
That would be amazing. I've seen somebody make a remote one at one point, but I remember seeing them go from like the island in their kitchen to like some other thing that they
wasn't that the ramen one? The ramen one's got remote bridge layer situation.
Maybe that is what I'm thinking of. I don't remember them even doing that though.
It's nuts, absolutely nuts.
How long ago was that shown?
Oh, last year, I want to say.
I'm thinking of older than that, honestly.
I think you're right. I think I've seen a video of someone's kitchen where they had that actually like going from like an island to like another thing in their kitchen. And I think, is that the video you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because I remember that one, definitely remember that one. That was more than a few years ago, I think.
The ramen was more modular though, wasn't it? Wasn't that the one that was also the Wolverine?
Yeah, isn't it like where you can, you got like lots of different options basically.
Okay, that's not the one that I'm thinking of, because that actually took me a little while to even remember what it was.
I love that Benjamin said bridge layer versus 4 or 5 Cobra Valkyries. It's like, yeah, it's funny that they're all like running directly at this massive tank, basically, with what effectively is pistols. But that is quite funny. Paul says the ramen bridge folds out to 5 feet long. That doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
How? That must be huge. Damn. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, that's the back of Blowtorch's artwork. And then, of course, we've got the product images. Worst person to have in a forest ever, I would say. And now he's basically set it on fire. Or he has set it on fire. Look, he's literally firing fire in a forest. Yeah, but really cool. I like this one.
It might be a controlled fire, to stop the line of a larger fire.
You could very well be.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's part of the narrative with that hiss tank and Footloose and what have you as well. But we'll have to see what Matt says in terms of that. But again, looks great, phenomenal figure. I'm really excited to get this one in hand. I think he's going to be a really good one, very unique as well in that sense. Okay, Frag Viper. I know this one has been quite an interesting one. I think lots of people like the Frag Viper as is, but there's been a lot of sort of mixed reaction to the cyborg head. What do you think?
I think I could put a helmet on it. I don't really love the cyborg head personally. I like the fact that they're trying some other things and that they're trying to infuse him with a little bit more of a story but it's just not for me. You know, that's going to happen anytime something new gets introduced, is that it'll either be for everybody or not for everybody. I don't hate it. It's not like I'm angry looking at it. I just go, yeah, I don't really need that.
So in terms of any sort of display, that helmet's going on, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got to say, I thought it was really cool. I think it's very like unnerving because it is very much like, it's a cyborg. They've got to make it like slightly, not quite alive, not quite right looking. And I like the idea of the fact they were thinking about the practical aspects of lugging tons of grenades everywhere with you and throwing them, certain
that
distances
is
and what have
true.
you,
Yeah,
and to have that like extra strength and that like advancement in the actual body. It's quite interesting. Yeah, they're effectively like there may be bats with a bit of skin stuck to their face, which is quite interesting as well, to me. But I love the figure. I think that Frag Viper helmet is gorgeous. I think it looks so cool. I love the extra straps as well they've kind of added. I think it's really dope. And of course, the back of the box here is an homage to the Deke Operation Dragonfire cartoon that they show up in, like I think episode 2 or 3. I think it might be 3, where they're in this temple lugging grenades. And there's the tuning fork on the ground that creates the dragonfire noise, such situation.
yeah. I always forget that they're actually in Deke.
Yeah, they only show up in that one episode, I believe. I have watched so much Deke, Kitty said. I have consumed so much Deke that I've got to the point now where I'm kind of like, I'm pretty sure that's the only time those Frag Vipers show up, which is kind of crazy, really. There's a few that they've done really well, the Deke cartooning, just cramming in as many characters as possible. And it's usually that period of time between, was it like 1808 through like 90? There's like a little period where some characters just get lost between Sunbow and Deke. Like you don't see them in the Sunbow cartoon, you don't see them in the
Yeah,
Deke cartoon. They just get that cut off, is just missed. And yeah, you end up like, but they've done really well in like cramming every other troop builder character and all sorts into the Deke cartoon. It's just a few that just like slip through the cracks a little bit. Snake Eyes version 3 is one of those, I want to say. Storm Shadow version 2 is another one that slips through the animation
yeah, that's
cracks,
true. Yeah, they're
which
just
is
not around.
it's a shame because like those two are pretty dope as well. Like,
Honestly, I'm going to say it's late '87 because it's not like you have Outback.
yeah, I
You
think
know,
you're right.
there's a lot of 1987s that didn't happen.
I think you're right. Genuinely, yeah, I think it's that period, isn't it? That little kind of
Like
bit of space.
half of '87 through half of '89
Yeah, I
is
think it's
what was
that.
missed.
I think that's
Yeah,
fair. Yeah, it's that little period, isn't it? Anyway, that is the back of the card. Then, of course, we have the same situation. They're all in this forest with this dodgy smoke floating around, and now Blowtorch has blown it up, basically. But yeah, I think the Frag Viper looks phenomenal here. I love that shot of the two of them lugging grenades. That's really dope. I think it's a really solid looking troop builder. I think this one is a win, and then the fact that you have the option if you're not a fan of the cyborg head, that doesn't really matter because it's not like you've got other troop builders where the helmet comes off, like the Viper. It's not like you pull that off and there's a
right.
balaclava underneath or anything. So yeah, it's a kind of I would say it's like a an inoffensive move if and one, it's a safe move to do an update, but to also back it, balance it out a little bit. Yeah, there's that. Then we have obviously more shots of that cyborg face. I think a lot of people were saying it's that element of no emotion that the face shows. And I think that's part of the cyborg aspect. It's like it's not going to show that emotion. It's going to be very deadpan. So it's that weird, I don't know, ill feeling around it. Kind of, yeah. But I don't know. It's cool. And what else? Law and Order. Interesting take on the ginger hair here, Pat, because Lenny mentioned that like he's always been ginger, but that isn't the case, is it?
Yeah, not really. I can't remember where that would be coming from.
Well, we looked at all of the different situations. The movie brown hair, shown on the animation model as well, pretty clearly.
Okay.
The obviously all the action figures he's had, not one of them had kind of red hair. I wonder what's happened there. Maybe some sort of reference material.
Yeah, I don't know what has happened there. I really don't know. Maybe a bad photo of something, like a bad photo of a figure. I don't know where that would be coming from.
Can I just say thank you very much to the for the super chat by Diagnostic Naked HD, who says, "What Deke characters do you want to see in the classified line? Send Chris and Pack your Deke peaks." Yeah, actually, what do we want to see in the line that's Deke related? Pat, do you want to have any for you that you want to see that are
Night
Deke
Creeper
related?
Leader.
Genius, good shout. Do you have the Pharaoh alternate head as well? The Pharaoh helmet sort of alternate? No, just the
it's okay.
I want Metalhead's grandmother.
I'm sure Super 7 will do it.
Terrible. What else? There's a few that I think are in there that we could definitely get. I mean, it's not really Deke character.
Overkill. Who said overkill with the Eliminator accessories last
100%. Yeah, yes. That great shout. In terms of like characters that were in the Deke cartoon, but also not necessarily just Deke related sort of things, Sub-Zero, Ambush, Pathfinder, Captain Gridiron, all of these kind of like that era of figures, I'm down for. Yeah, Undertow you mentioned as well a while back. Yeah, like there's so many good figures. Flak Viper. Any others?
Yeah.
Annihilators, Targats, Sonic Fighters, redecos. I want to see Road Pig as a Sonic Fighters redeco with that nice tan that he's got.
There's a weird redeco of Interrogator that shows up for like one shot in one episode that I've always felt should have existed in some fashion. If they ever do Interrogator, they could do that recolor.
I think Interrogate is a good shout, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Diagnostic Naked HD, whoever you are. Sorry, loads of comments. Deke Queen Elizabeth says slave. Amazing. Deke Zorana colors. That is a great shout, Robert. Absolutely great shout. Zorana would be phenomenal in that deco. Female Range Viper, was it Evie? Definitely. Sky Patrol says Joe. Scarlet in shopping outfit, says Leon. Deke Scarlet is nice. Yeah. Pathfinder Stalker version 2 is a great shout. Great shout. Deep 6 version 2 is a great shout. G.I. Jetman as well. Tracker with his blow up boat, says Sean. Headhunters. Yeah. All of these are great shouts. Doc says, I want them to do Quinn. Quinn would be phenomenal just in general. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Anyway, Law and Order. We get the good boy head as well with the pointy fingers and his little mask. And lots of really good storage options for Law and Order here. He can carry pretty much all of his gear, which is dope. So I'm kind of, apart from all the spare hands and stuff, but I think looks really good. Really good. And then, of course, we have the back of the package, which is an homage to the movie of Law and Order in their kind of training montage with Beachhead and Order obviously finding the bomb. The bomb's there, look. And Beachhead as well in the background. Slightly different design and build on Beachhead, which is quite interesting. There's a lot of people saying, you know, what's going on here? But I think it's just for the render. I don't think we're going to get another classified V1 Beachhead show up with short sleeves, but it's kind of a fun little homage in the background. Pat, do you like this one?
Yeah, I think that as long as almost looks like they're popping figures apart and putting them back together, which does kind of mean, you know, that's at least a figure that you could make, right?
Yeah, definitely. Ed says it's Resolute Beachhead.
That's nice. What I was thinking too.
Justin said Scoop would be great. Yeah, talking about Deke characters, Scoop would be brilliant. Imagine all the cool accessories you'd get with Scoop, like that camera, like he's got those like binoculars molded on as well, and he's got loads of gear. Scoop, like the helmet's really cool, the backpack's amazing. Yeah, I think that would be amazing. Ryan says is it possible they used a Flint figure for the shot and digitally painted him into Beachhead? That's not a bad shout, Ryan. Honestly, not a bad shout at all.
Yeah, maybe.
Scoop and hashtag social media 2-packs, as yeah, definitely. Anyway, that is the back of the packaging there. Again, some more beautiful shots and images. You can see all the storage there on the belt for lore, which is great, and some of the extra texture and deco on his vest as well, which is really cool. There's little black little vents and stuff on there, really nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm feeling this. I think they've done really well on Law and Order here, bar the odd change in hair color. I love that secondary mic, man. That's so cool.
I really appreciate how much detail there is in Order's mouth.
Yeah.
Like how that had to have been designed for drafting out of the tooling, as well as to be decoed that well inside his mouth.
It's absolutely. Really when you see how tooling is done for these kind of things, you kind of look at that mouth and you go, what kind of nightmare were they going through trying to get that to, to kind of come out the way it did. Don't totally agree with on that one. And I bet the paint mask is really difficult on that as well, because you have to kind of get it inside the mouth, cover that bit, and then spray it right, and then take that off and then put another one in there. God, that would be a right pain in the butt, actually.
Yeah, but they've done it. Like looking at how well how good it looks. And I do kind of think this is the kind of thing that is on display and somebody's just going to be like, that may not be into G.I. Joes, that just likes dogs, is going to really gravitate toward this and Junkyard.
It's one hell of an animal companion line, isn't it? For sure.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of good animals in it.
I thought of one the other day, which I think you might laugh at, mate. Leatherneck with a giraffe.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. But yeah, moving on. I love this shot of him spinning the cuffs with his pointing finger. That is genius by Matt or whoever decided that was a pose. That's so good. So good. Anyway, yeah, brilliant. I think this is a real quality figure and animal companion. It's one that obviously a lot of people have been waiting for a long time, but they've really nailed it with this one. So many good details, options for display, options for gear and everything. Order looks phenomenal. There was a lot of people was kind of a bit concerned about what Order might look like, but I think they've nailed him. I think he looks great. Yeah, and just again, brilliant stuff and loads of great images again. So good shout on that one. And then of course you couldn't have an animal companion shot without one of the dogs scratching itself, could you? So brilliant.
Right.
Brilliant. Okay, the divers nearly there. 2-pack, pretty straightforward stuff here, Pat. Army builders for your underwater teams, and obviously an homage to the mass device. What are your thoughts?
Emily said this is the last mass device release for the year, right?
Yeah. So we got the 3 mass elements, basically.
I remember when we were all hoping that meant we were getting a mass device.
Right.
Maybe not all of us are really hoping for that, but I was hoping that there was more to it than just like a few releases.
Yeah, I don't really know how you could do a mass device and make it interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like it would have, like, a lot of people have said things like, build a figure or build a vehicle or build a thing. And I'm like, I just don't see it working. Like, think of the logistics on that. Like, I just don't.
Added expense to everything, and everybody's going to have these pieces laying around instead of completed things. Yeah, because that would make a lot of extra expense in every single figure, and then it would be just like, why do I have 10 of these treads for a mass device?
Right,
figures didn't come with backpacks.
And I was thinking, like, as well, like how how would you sell it on its own? It's going to have to be in like the 75 to 100 department, and it's just a box with a giant phallic like knob on the top of it. Like they could make some cool stuff with it, maybe make it into a play set, maybe have it open out, which would be kind of cool. But again, that's turning into something else. That's turning into a HasLab at this point. So I don't know. I don't know how it would be done to make it make sense. Make it make sense, Pat. I suppose just having the elements is like a nice thing. Like it's, that kind of is about as far as they can kind of go with it, really, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, the divers are great product shots again, and pretty simple, straightforward redecos here. So yeah, But we've
I
got
enjoy
like
the hazy light off in the distance. Is a really
brilliant
good effect to give the feel of water. It's good.
with those tubes in the background as well, ready to have those horrible
Yeah.
worms come out of them. But yeah, again, like these actually did sell out as well. Like, so I think a lot of people kind of like pass or not that bothered or not that fussed. But I think a lot of people were feeling that FOMO of not completing a little mass device kind of mini collection, or not getting all the elements or what have you. But I definitely like the thought of these, and definitely want to fill out my water-based Joes and Cobra displays with these guys. But yeah, I think they look great. And then of course there's the mass element gassing out on the floor. Yeah, cool. And then of course what I think was probably the scene stealing like highlight for me was this snake armor. I haven't spoken to you really about the snake armor at all yet, I don't think. So I have no idea what you think about this. But I am interested to hear your thoughts on this, Bud, because this
We talked about it briefly. We did.
did we?
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe we're not live. We talked about it because I mentioned that I did want one, and I do think that the snake armor needed a bit of an update.
It certainly got that, didn't it?
Yeah.
My goodness. So it's huge for one. But it's what I think was I was most impressed with were all the extra bits and pieces that I'd never really given a second thought to. So like all the different arm attachments. I forgot it comes with like hands, and that makes it really cool for some reason. Like all of a sudden it becomes like now it's like a Hulkbuster uniform. It's like a
Well, it's like a precursor to the bat in a lot of ways. But now
right.
it's more of a snake mech than a snake armor.
Agreed, totally. It is a mech 100, but this is like a seated section at the top. Like it's just nuts. But all like the details in the interior, all those little screens and TV screens and everything, which by the way, again, in human life, in real life, they look really I couldn't think of the term. They look really good, those little bit of details and screens and everything. And then you've got like one on the front, which obviously would be seen upright, excuse me, would be seen upright by the driver. So it's upside down and you pull it down, obviously, but when it goes up, it's like the right way up for who's in there. Then, of course, you've got little screens on the right-hand side of the driver. You've got screens on the left-hand side, which Lenny's manicure is pointing out there. And just really cool, like all those different sections that open out. And, it's just amazing. I'm
And
really...
headlights, right?
You what, bud?
Those are headlights too, right? On the chest.
Are they?
Aren't they? That's what it looks like to me.
Oh, right. On the kind of
The parts
thin pieces that go up in the air. Yes. It looks like they are. Again, do you know what? Hadn't even noticed that. I saw there was a detail on it, but not. I thought it was like almost like the clip point, if you know what I mean. Like it would be
Right.
like like a sort of clip point. But no, yeah, that's really dope. I hadn't even thought about that. And then of course you've got the semi kind of translucency on the screen there, so you can kind of... I'm going to probably put a little red light inside mine.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That would look good.
Definitely.
Maybe one of those ones that's like one of the ones that I see in Gundams that you can activate with a magnet.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Ryan says this is hiss levels of details. It really is. I think the really crazy part though is the fact that we were moaning. I was kind of saying like with the claw, if they don't make it so the claw doesn't attach to the back of this thing, they're going to miss out really. And then what they show is that it already comes with like a jetpack with fuel tanks and everything on the back. So this thing has got everything, and it is ridiculous. I love this edition, mate, as like a... you can make it a much smaller, thinner snake armor if you take those elements off, or you can pop them on and it's even chonkier and massive, and it now has like a friggin' jetpack.
Yeah, I love jetpacks on things, so that speaks to me. I was looking for this to be different than what it originally was.
And even like the little hooks on the shoulder, so you can air drop it into certain situations as well.
Yeah,
Amazing.
we probably don't have to wait too long for a blue one, I don't think, do we?
No. Well, I want a red one personally, but yeah, I think
Right. Yeah.
I think you're right. A blue one might be on the cards, but they might do a crimson one. I could see them doing a crimson one for the old Crimson Strike sort of sub team.
Yeah, and then that kind of
sort of
doing two purposes. Yeah,
maybe
you're
like
right.
another little Tampo set in there for Red Shadows if you wanted
Yeah.
it. And then of course, yeah, you've got all the different attachments and stuff like that. The OG missile, which is hilarious. And then yeah, this is the kind of render element on the front of the box. So they're in some sort of like post-apocalyptic blooming, street scene. They're just blowing stuff up. Just really cool, really cool. And yeah, again, the promo images do not disappoint. We've got that one holding a figure upside down as well is so crazy. Yeah, just unreal. This is definitely my most excited kind of aspect of the classified series. It's just so cool, and that shot there of them climbing in, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
looks good.
next level. Right then, here's a couple more shots, details of the interior, and of course the shot of the back, which we've already looked at. And then finally in the show, they revealed a little sneak peek of Zartan from the Cold Slither box set. Quick thought on that, Pat? Are you happy with how he's looking?
Yeah, they've got his guitar looking like doesn't bend too terribly much.
Absolutely.
That's good. He does look good. I do like the level of detail and how much extra detail he added into the guitars is a big plus, but also very appropriate. Like I could see that being an area where they could have skipped past some of the detail, but they didn't, and it's kind of a selling point of the set.
If there's anything I will say about this team, it's they will 100% love adding way more detail than is necessary. So I'm definitely here for that. Anyway, that brings us to the end of that particular section. No real changes in the listings other than to say that Snake Eyes version 4 is definitely a retail way before figure. That does not change. And we don't have the listing, or there isn't a leaked listing anyway, for the Amazon exclusive MMS with Colonel Hawk yet. If we do and we find one and we know what it is, we'll add it. But at the moment, no changes. Same for 2026. But we have got changes, of course, for the name only reveals, which now we've got the Sergeant Slaughter Mercer 2-pack, which has been revealed. We've got Monkey Wrench, Battle Armor Cobra Commander, and Major Blood, of course, as well for Cobra. And then digital renders wise, we're back to the Ore Striker. Snake Eyes version 4 now has been added, as is the MMS with Colonel Hawk, the retro green shirt, and then the retro bat for Cobra joins Slice and Dice and Cold Slither. Right then, that's everything. Let's get on to some shout outs and try and get this finished soon so Pat can do what he needs to do. Sorry, buddy, we'll rinse through these. Go for it.
Shout out, as always, to Philip. Yeah, it hasn't been that long. I was talking to him just yesterday. So shout out to you, Philip.
It seems like only yesterday you were talking to Phil, and it was.
It was.
Yeah, shout out to Articulated Points. Go check out the channel on YouTube. Link in the description, and sub and all that good stuff, please and thank you. Also, massive shout out to Brian Sauer for our wonderful graphics. We have got a whole get this bit of a spoiler for all of you guys to look forward to. Yojo June, this Yojo June, we are doing a full-on rebrand. So the full force is going to have new graphics, new music, going all for all our different kind of formats and everything. We're going to do a whole new rebrand that Brian and I are working on as we speak. So it'll be fun little Yojo June treat. We'll drop that on the 1st of June, obviously, and then run it across all of our stuff. So expect a cool little rebrand. On as well as that, Brian obviously runs Assembly Required, the codename Iowa convention. So you can find out all you need to know about that currently at codenameiowa.com. November 14th and 15th this year. More information to follow. It is a Cobra Island theme. Very excited for that. Battle Action Force, shout out to the Treasury editions, which you can still get on skeletron.com and Total Toy Books. Another little shout out to Brian Hickey in a second as well, not just for the Star Wars Toys Palatoy Saga book, which is the next unlock is at €48,500 for the hardback cover. So that is another shout out, obviously, to Brian and Paddy in this sense. Congratulations, of course, of hitting that initial funding goal, already reaching a stretch goal as well. Keep that going. Links all on our socials, of course, for that. And as we'll be talking about Brian again in a second, but before that, of course, RoboSkull Mark IIs are available at skeletron.com as we speak. Go get them right this second. I don't think there are any. The Skeletron did post a really cool video about their line of figures, but other than that, no other updates as of right this second. But Kickley did another bit of G.I. Joe art ever since he did old Six Finger Bill. We now have regular amounts of fingers on Alpine shooting at some rock vipers. Another really good piece here, Pat, to go in our Kickley gallery.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. That's a lot of rock vipers. It's like this is the most intense episode of American Gladiators ever.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I could just imagine Jet doing this and shooting everyone behind her. Or actually, no, it would be the Contender that would be shooting at the Gladiators, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. All of the Gladiators chasing one Contender up a wall, and the Contender has a gun that has just enough bullets.
If they had incorporated like the Nerf ball kind of guns during that, it would have made the wall a lot more interesting.
That would be amazing. I just want to go watch American Gladiators and regular Gladiators, UK Gladiators right this second now.
Yeah.
Shout out, of course, to Talking Joe. They've got an episode with Barry and James Tomlinson about Battle Action Force, with also Brian Hickey showing up in that as well. So go check that out on their channel as well. And they've also done, Tim and Mark have done their reaction to G.I. Joe issue 5, the Talking Joe Energon Universe series, where they're going to be reviewing the comics as they come out. So go check those out as well. Go check that out as well on their channel. Link, I think there's a link. Well, we post links, but they might not be in the description. And of course, we are speaking to Lenny and Tony next week, and as well, I think BMAC, when they can get that organized, and Matt from Shooting the Galaxy, and Brian Flynn from Super 7. So lots of interviews coming, but specifically and most notably the soonest is Lenny and Tony on Tuesday. So if you want to get any questions in that you want to ask, go and find these posts on our socials and throw in a little comment on there, and I'll see if I can squeeze it in there. Mark says, we are going live in an hour for Talking Joe issue 5. Thanks for the shout out. There you go then. They'll be talking G.I. Joe issue 5 very soon. Right then. Massive shout out as well to Lenny, Tony, and Emily on the brand team for doing a great job on the fan stream. It was so much fun, as always. And Pat, thank you very much for you, mate, for jumping on again and doing a massive episode.
It's always fun. I really appreciate being on.
Always a blast. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3.
Full force.
Laters. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.